Cross River, we let you know everything happening in Cross River State, in the political scene, the private sector, and every subsector. Our role is to build a Cross River State of our collective dream. And of course, we have a people's first governor who is leaving those stones unturned to do that. All right, so there's been this, would I say, controversy about the padded, wage bill and all of that, how there are duplications in the payroll and they are not, seemingly can't get it right up until this minute. So I decided that let me have this interaction with the people that were in charge of the process for us to know what the issue is. Today, I have the privilege of speaking with the former head of service of Cross River State. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Timothy Ogban Akwaji. So it's a privilege to be here today. And for you, you are a journalist. You've been a journalist for about 27 years or more. A practicing journalist, a veteran. So you're my senior colleague. So I expect that you should be informing the public. We've had a lot of misinformation here and there. I think the appropriate thing to do is to disseminate the appropriate information so that people will know what is actually going on. What is actually wrong with the wage bill of Cross River State?
Well, let me first of all thank you for the opportunity you are granting me to be able to also weigh into this matter.
Yeah.
Like I said recently, I am a bureaucrat. I grew to the rank of head of service, and there are things that I feel we should not jump into the media and begin to, sensationalize them. Ideally, there is a government in place, and a lot of work is being done. I had expected that we would have waited until such a time that if questions or clarifications are required of us, then we now volunteer them.
Okay.
But let me also mention again that the issue of the wage bill has been of concern to so many Cross Riverians, myself inclusive. I remember, writing that ordinarily with the attrition going on in the service, occasioned by mass retirements, ordinarily the active wage bill should be coming down, while that of pension, payroll should be going up. But a situation where both the active, payroll goes up and the pension obligation also goes up, there is an anomaly there. Okay,
so the anomaly is what we are talking about here. So what is causing that imbalance in the wage bill? Is there any way you are synchronizing both the nominal role and the wage bill? Is there an imbalance? What do you think is the crux of the matter?
When I was appointed head of service, I met a situation where the payroll had already been moved out of the office of head of service to maybe the SSA payroll. And then in those days, the head of service who houses the data bank is the one who is custodian of the nominal role. And then the head of service, based on the data, would generate the payroll and then send it to Auditor General for vetting. And then after the vetting process by the Auditor General would now forward a clean copy that he has authenticated to the Accountant General for payment. That tripod ensures checks and balances. And that system where the head of service generates both the payroll and keeps the nominal role allows him the impetus, the head of service to have it allows him the impetus, to maybe every month after salaries are paid, you now reconcile the payroll with the nominal role.
Okay.
But I came and I met a system where the nominal role was in the office of head of service, whereas the payroll was not in the office of head of service. And the only communication between the head of service and the managers of the payroll was now through monthly update, which you send before salaries are paid. He said, this is number of persons should be deleted. because they have retired. This number of person, this person had been given appointment, you know, into the service and had undergone, you understand me, biometrics, are now included in the nominal roll. In a situation where some persons in the wage bill, that is the payroll, are not in a nominal roll, there is an aberration.
That is understood, right? But then you are somebody who had experience and you grew through the ranks and you were well vested. In addition to that, you had the ears of the governor. So what did you do to return the payroll back to the head of service?
I wrote.
Okay.
You understand me? I wrote, said that the head of service should be the one to generate the payroll, to reconcile it with the nominal roll, to allow the Auditor General to do his own ombudsman's job of, you know, tracking to ensure that there are no criminal insertions, no wrong insertions in the wage bill. But after a long while, when I raised concerns that a situation where one person generates payroll, one person vets payroll, one person applies to government at the end of each month for payment. You understand me? It's like when we used to write articles in those days, you say verifying the verifier. Who verifies the verifier in this instance? Okay,
so what reason did I give to you that led to the movement of the payroll when you assume office?
The payroll was moved before I came.
No, what are the reasons stated? At least you were handed over.
Perhaps because
there was handed over notes,
no,
right?
Perhaps because the government appointed SSA payroll.
Okay, so in previous government, there was nothing like that?
There was nothing like SSA payroll.
Okay.
Because the payroll, if you generate the payroll in the office of head of service, you pass it on to the Auditor General, who does his own ombudsman job, goes through the payroll and ensures that everything is okay. And he passes it to...
So if the governor was getting the results that he wanted, would he have moved the payroll from the head of service office?
I would not say, because I was not there at that time. And then, you understand me, when we persisted that we needed to have checks and balances, the governor appointed another SSA payroll in the person of Chief Henry Onwe. What happened? You may have to...
So what was his role?
His role was now to be SSA payroll, so that the Auditor General would not be the one to generate the payroll.
So did he do his job effectively?
Ask Henry. He refused, the Auditor General refused to hand over the schedule to him until the government came to an end. You can call Henry Ogwe, he's here in Calabar.
Okay. All right, so we need to know what the way forward should be. But before then, I want to know, because you must have led some sort of legacy in the office of the head of service. With all of these discrepancies here and there, would you say that there was transparency and proper checks and balances? What legacy would you say you left behind as a head of service?
As head of service, I will not blow my trumpet. Go and do a vox pop.
Okay.
The civil servants that I led, they know the difference between me and some other persons. You understand me? So I cannot now sit down here, you know, to blow my own trumpet. You go and ask the people that I led. Let them tell you the kind of head of service that I was. You understand me?
Okay. All right, so now that we have people in the payroll that are not in the nominal role, how can that be reconciled? In your own opinion, what's your professional advice on that?
Yes. My professional advice is simple. The government led by Senator Prince Bassi Otu is on track already.
Okay.
Personnel audit had been concluded. General personnel audit had been concluded. And then BVN verification has almost been completed. You understand me? The number of pensioners, you know, who went to the banks, individual banks, to do biometrics, that is to do thumbprint and everything, that has also been completed. So ordinarily we should have waited for government to come out with that report and then invite us to now come and give explanations. You understand me? Like I said, the head of services office, you know, keeps the nominal role. But the only communication that the head of service office has now with the managers of the payroll is the monthly update.
All right, so the emphasis has been on padding of the payroll, padding, the duplication. what, in your opinion, based on your own experience, what would you say led to the padding of the payroll or the duplication? What is responsible for that?
Well, you're asking the wrong person the question. Because number one, I'm not managing. I'm not managing
the payroll.
I was not managing the payroll.
Okay.
Now, there are maybe you went through social media and you saw preliminary reports emanating from the recent personnel audit, the recent pay, the recent biometric verification in banks. You saw that the preliminary reports said there were some persons, one civil servant receiving salaries up to 5 different banks at the end of each month. You understand me? One BVN is being used to float, and then payments are done. What? How would they?
So the bankers are not seeing this imbalance.
No. How would the head of service, who is not managing the payroll, be in a position to track? That is supposed to be the responsibility of the Auditor General. The responsibility of the Auditor General is that if there are criminal insertions, you query. With the coming on stream of computers, it's very easy. All you need to do is that you query for reputation. You query for similar, that is the same BVN floating, and the computer will they will pop up, and and that's how the Auditor General is supposed to
So why was that process not carried out like that?
If it was carried out, why would there be instances of one person receiving more than one?
Okay, so why?
That is, there was an announcement by the current head of service,
yes,
inviting people whose names appeared 5 times this to come. You need to find out from the current head of service.
The lifting of the embargo that led to the recruitment of 2,363 fresh people into the service, right? Please, what actually led to that, process where the governor had to lift the embargo?
Yes,
were there short of supply of civil servants?
I'll give you a little background. I was the one who presented the memo in ESCO and got approval. My memo was premised on the fact that Akwa Ibom was created out of Cross River in 1987.
Okay.
And when Akwa Ibom was created out of Cross River State, the new state, Akwa Ibom, and old state, Cross River, set up a joint, assets sharing and verification committee. And the committee came up with startling revelations that almost 80% of the workforce left for the new state, leaving Cross River with only 20% of the workforce. So between 1987, 88, 89, Cross River State had to, start its own bureaucracy afresh by injecting over 10,000 workers into the service. Because at that time, when Akwa Ibom people left, the schools were there, the children were in school, no teachers. The hospitals were there, no medical personnel. So government responded by recruiting over 10,000 people. So those who came on board in 1987 all retired in 2022. Those who came in 1988, all of us have retired in 2023. And those who came in 1989 will retire this year, 2024. So if there is no injection of fresh hands, we will drift again into that scenario where offices will be empty, schools will not be run, hospitals will not be run because of shortage of personnel. So I presented a memo to ESCO, and ESCO gave approval. What was the approval ESCO gave? Okay. ESCO gave approval that 1,000 workers should be recruited into the mainstream. Okay. ESCO also said 50 each for the 18 local governments, making a total of 900. And then educational sector, both primary and secondary, 1,000. Health sector, both primary and secondary, 1,000. And then parastatals, 500. Judiciary, 400. And then the legislature, 200. So this makes a total of 500. Okay. So the process was kickstarted after this ESCO approval, where the former governor appointed the former chief of staff as chairman of a committee where all heads of recruiting MDAs were co-opted. The Commissioner for Local Government Affairs was a member. The Commissioner for Establishments was a member. The Chairman of Civil Service Commission was a member. The Chairman of Local Government Service Commission was a member. The Chairman of SUBEB, then the current Commissioner for Education, Senator Steve Wood, the PhD, was a member. The DG of Primary Health Care was a member. And then 2 people representing the 18 local governments, the chairman of council, that is chairman of Yako and Akpabuyo. And then even the president of Norge was co-opted. And we met to come out with gap analysis in the various MDAs so that the recruitment can be tailored into, specifics based on needs assessment that will be done. We met a couple of times. And in the whole of that process, it culminated to the governor granting approval to 2,363 new staff. That approval from the former governor, Senator Professor Ben Ayade, was granted on the 22nd of May, 2023, a week
before handing over.
The week to inauguration of a new governor.
So why did you wait that late?
No. That was when I was not the one who raised the memo. The chairman of Civil Service Commission was the one who raised memo. Because you have to understand that the Civil Service Commission has the constitutional responsibilities for recruitment, for promotion, and for discipline.
So why was the memo raised so late?
No. The memo was not raised that late. The approval came late. And now the original copy of the approval is still with the chairman or the recently suspended chairman of Civil Service Commission. The original was with him because the approval said chairman Civil Service Commission stroke HOS stroke Auditor General.
Yeah, I think
so the original one would go to the chairman. Yeah. And I told the chairman that because this approval came late, if you want us to take action, seek revalidation from the new governor. I did that. The governing council got approval, or College of Education got approval from the former governor and recruited 100 staff. When they forwarded to me for implementation, that is the Office of Head of Service will first of all take image capturing, put them in the nominal role. Then after that, do a memo and attach the approval and every instrument and pass to the Auditor General before they can be inserted into the payroll. But I wrote to the current governor and said this came late. 100 staff to be recruited into College of Education for both academic and non-academic duties. I'm seeking revalidation to implement. And the governor declined the revalidation because it was observed that more than 80% of those who were recruited by the Governing Council of College of Education were all from one local government. And the governor said, no, there was no spread. So I told the former chairman of Civil Service Commission, seek validation, revalidation of that approval because administratively, I am somebody who is head of service. You cannot bring in a governor today and you inundate the payroll with 2,363 workers. So up till the time I retired, there was nothing that came to me by way of approval, the revalidation approval from the current governor. So no single person was invited from the 2,363. Not even one person was invited for image capture. Not even one person was put in the nominal role.
So why did the Auditor General say that the payroll is padded by you and the...
That is what I'm saying. In the whole of my 18 months, only 4 new staff were validly recruited. 1 Mary Agba in Liaison Office, Abuja. 1 Misokon in Primary Health Care. And then 2 children of 1 Mr. Age from Obudu. And then 2 people were also validly approved for transfer of service. 1 Usibe from local government service. to the mainstream state service, and then one OChem from College of Education, you understand me, to Internal Revenue Service. You see, let me tell you, there is nothing. The head of service cannot put one name in the payroll without, putting it in the monthly update to the Auditor General. So if you say that I connive with Kwenako to pad, how?
That is my question.
No, that one said how.
That's the question everybody is asking.
How? Because the entire recruitment process that started from the approval from ISCO until the approval was granted on the 22nd of May 2023, not even one person was put in the payroll. Okay, so how would the people now enter the payroll?
I saw some names that were presented by the suspended chairman of the Civil Service Commission, that from that 2,363, about 100 people from Okuni and Nikom made it to the payroll.
What I'm saying is that you need to ask the Auditor General, because number one, I did not invite those. In fact,
so you didn't prepare the update.
No, I didn't prepare update. I didn't even invite them for biometrics.
So how did they get there? About 100 and something people.
I would not know. I will not know if anybody got, that is from the 2,363. If one person entered the state payroll, I have no idea, because I didn't invite anybody for biometrics. I didn't put one person in the nominal role, and I did not do update and forward it.
And the chairman Civil Service Commission does not have such powers.
No, the chairman Civil Service Commission's responsibility is to recruit
and give appointment letters.
When he gives appointment letters, the copies of appointment letters would naturally come to the head of service, and the head of service will now, based on the governor's approval, invite those persons for biometrics. And when you are done with biometrics, it is then that you now come and do update and forward to the Auditor General, who also doubled as SSA payroll for inclusion.
Okay, so what is the role of Accountant General? Just payment?
Accountant General, as a name portrays, is that he is the Accountant General.
Okay.
When all due process is followed, they pass it to him, he pays.
And they don't detect anything, they just pay?
No, the person who is supposed to track is the Auditor General.
Okay.
The Auditor General is the one who should track if there are criminal insertions in the payroll. And that's why we've been saying this over and over again, that where there are no checks and balances, it becomes something that you cannot explain. Because all this hulabaloo of recruitment of new staff, the head of service meeting with the former chairman, one person from the recruitment process was not captured by the head of service. I asked that approval should be subjected to the governor for revalidation. Okay,
so my next question is, you asked for revalidation, that never happened until you left.
Until I left.
And the 2,363 people never got to the payroll.
They never got to the nominal role, which I managed.
Okay, so and without the nominal role, there cannot be a payroll, right?
Let me tell you something.
No, where did the padding come from?
If any name from that recruitment process enter the payroll, ask the person who manages the payroll. Because I did not ask anybody to come for verification and biometrics. I did not put any single name in the nominal role of the state. I did not. Amongst those persons, one person was not put in the nominal role. If I didn't put in the nominal role and I didn't do update and forwarded to the Auditor General, anybody who found his way there, the Auditor General and the SSA payroll is in a position to explain.